Hi, John Monroe here again. I made a cycling to work video a little while ago, which was in the rain, and I thought I would make another one cycling home from work on this nice sunny day here today. So I'm at the University of Birmingham campus where I work. Here's the parking lot. Here's my bike, my single speed, as I mentioned in my previous video. So let me hop on here. I've got the camera on this head strap, which seems to work okay. Okay, let's go. So I wanted to make this video for a couple of reasons. One, as I said, just to showcase a little bit riding home when the weather's nice, as opposed to the, I guess, slightly more miserable ride we had before in the rain. And the second was to make the point and to show you, to make the point about, let me catch my breath as I get up this hill, to make the point about different routes. I'm gonna go a different way this time. So that's sort of the main thing here, and to show you some of the pros and cons about different ways you can go. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna follow a mostly shared path. Here's this unnecessary pedestrian crossing, which should be pedestrian priority, but so it goes. I picked up this habit during COVID of using my keys to press the beg buttons, and it's probably not necessary, but it's somehow stuck with me. In any case, so what you're gonna see on this ride and here on the shared path is a fair bit of the ride is going to be car-free, which is sort of the main point that I wanted to consider here on this ride today. So what this means is it'll take me a little bit longer to get home, but I'll deal with less car traffic as I do so. It's also midday today. What time is it? It's just about noon, and I was on campus this morning for a few things and to pick up a few things, and then I'm gonna do some work at home this afternoon. So it's unusual for me to be traveling, commuting at this time. Usually it's morning and 5 p.m. or thereabouts. So what this means is there's a lot less people around. And on the shared paths, of course, you have to ride, quite a bit slower, because obviously the pedestrians do and ought to have priority. And another thing is that the pedestrians, of which I am often one, maybe more often one than I am on my bike, pedestrians can be on their phones, not paying attention in a conversation, idling, looking at the sky, whatever it might be. And that's all exactly as it should be. That's exactly, pedestrians have every right to do all of that stuff. And when I'm on my bike in a shared path scenario, there's a dangerous junction here. That's something to be mindful of too. Okay, let me just jump into the traffic here. So I have to go a little bit on the road here because I want to get on the canal as part of my mostly car-free ride. Well, as you'll see, this is the difficulty, is that when you do want to take car-free sort of sections, it means you also sometimes have to take some quite difficult, and you'll see later on as well, some quite difficult sections in the cars, because of course Birmingham has almost no cycling infrastructure of any kind anywhere. Okay, getting down onto the towpath here. What is this, the 26th to the 28th? Okay, let's see how we do. So here's another thing. My bike, as I showed you, it's an uncomplicated bike. It's also very light, which means it's really easy for me to make my way down here. But one of the issues with the towpaths is that they are not always very accessible. So there are places where there are ramps and you can ride right down, as I'm sure everybody in Birmingham knows. But it also means that your most convenient place to join or exit might be somewhere where you might be lifting your bike. Where I'll get out, you'll see, is a spot where it's going to be stairs, but there is this little sort of, I don't know what it's called, a little thing you can put your tires on and push the bike up instead of carry it up. So the towpaths. So if you're thinking about riding to work and you're looking at the map and plotting your route, you might want to see if you can find a path that has a route to work that has a canal section on it, because as you can see, it's really pleasant. The boats and the trees, the nice air, no cars. It's great. I'll get a little ding here. Thank you. And it's not very many people out today. It's also midday, midweek. It's a Wednesday today. Sometimes there are a lot of other bicycles and a lot of pedestrians, joggers, dog walkers. It can be a little crowded, and it can mean you have to ride really quite slowly as a result. So there's a lot of different views, people I've talked to, about the towpaths for cycling. Some cyclists don't like them at all, for reasons I can kind of relate to. They're, especially for commuting, it's not a recreational ride. You want an efficient, A to B, and the canal towpaths don't always provide that. Secondly, the canal towpaths, they're not actually cycling infrastructure, nice though they are. Thank you. Thank you. And there's something about them that that it kind of, this tunnel is really fun. Here's one other thing about on the plus side with the canals, they're just a lot of fun. And that's something about cycling to work, which other forms of commuting don't necessarily have. I don't know how much fun it is to drive a car to work, but certainly parts of riding a bike to work can be just simply fun and pleasant, and that's worth emphasizing. But again, on the negative side, the towpaths are not, purpose-built cycling infrastructure. And there's a way that then therefore means that those who use them are tucked out of the way and kept out of inconveniencing or bothering the motorists, and therefore kind of reinforces the idea that the roads are just for them. And so there's a way that being on the roads, it's our right to be there, it's public space that we all pay for, etc., that being on the towpaths sort of diffuses that sort of potential conflict in a way that reinforces all of the problems with the kind of transport hierarchy that we have in a place like Birmingham. Thank you. So most pedestrians, it's another issue. I'm sure many people don't need me to tell them, but passing pedestrians on the towpaths seems so straightforward, right? Slow down, make yourself known. Thank you. And pass by. But I sometimes myself don't know quite what to do, because ringing this bell can startle people. And they're going for a walk or they're talking or whatever, they don't need that. But then also you don't want to creep up silently. And but sometimes they do feel like a verbal little shout just passing on your right or whatever is often a way that I do it. Sometimes it seems less jarring. Okay, here's where I exit. And as you can see, this is what I was talking about, these little divot things. You can put your tires in there if you like. I usually just carry the bike, but let's do this. So we're gonna come to the big trade-off in this ride today, which is I just had this pleasant little section on the canal, but now I exit at the middle way, because for me, this is where I exit to get home, and this is one of the worst parts of any kind of commute route that I would take. Another nice thing about Birmingham, and again, it's sort of one of my main points in this video, is that Birmingham, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm from Canada and a North American situation where it's more sort of rectangular city blocks. Obviously in British cities, it doesn't work that way. But what that means is there's so many different routes, interesting routes you can take. And that's a nice thing I like about my cycling commute is every day, especially at the end of the day, I decide which way I want to go, and depending on my mood and so on. Okay, now it not being rush hour, it's actually not too bad right now in terms of traffic. I could filter past this truck, but I'm not going to. It just doesn't look quite safe. So I'll wait a second. The roundabout, the 5 ways roundabout, which I'm coming to, is, I've gone through it a couple of times. I'm not going to go through it right now. I've ridden through it a couple of times, but it's pretty scary. It's obviously meant for, okay, here we are, cyclists dismount. I don't always do that, but I'll do it here just because I'm making this video. So the roundabout and the underpass here, I mean, it says it all, right? The ideology that's essentially announced by this, that get off your bike, go below, I think I can hop on now, and get out of the way of the cars, the people who really, whatever, the transportation mode that really matters, etc., is essentially what this whole interchange says. And sometimes I stay up there, which you're allowed to do, of course, and take the roundabout, but only when I'm in a particularly brave mood, I guess, because it's pretty scary. So I'm gonna hop back on the middle way up here. And this part of the middle way tends to be not as busy, which is good. But it does take a little bit of getting used to. This road here, again, as everyone knows, because there's no enforcement of any kind on any kind of speeding limits and motorists can go whatever speed they want, the design of this road lends itself in particular to people who seem essentially to be drag racing, and that can be really scary. So you want to be careful about picking your route in terms of that too. There's dangerous drivers on every road, passing you closely and so on. But some roads are worse than others. Not too bad today though. Okay, do a little bit of filtering here. This SUV is not leaving me much space, but that should be okay. Excuse me. I could filter up in front of this police car, but I'm just not going to. And like driving, I guess, a lot of the time spent in the commute is waiting for the light, which, fair enough, it's just part of it, I guess. Okay, now I'm back on Monument Road where I live. Not for long actually, because I'm in the process of moving, but this is the same commute, same place I rode from last time and now returning to. Nice and smooth, fresh. They paved this recently. No bike lanes though. Okay, and this brings me back to where I started last time. I'll take off the helmet and say goodbye. So I'm not sure how long that was. Let's see, the camera might tell me. Looks like about 15 minutes. Okay, good. So much nicer. There's a ride in the sunshine, riding home. Okay, see you later.